live lecture number 4. Our final lecture of the course. We are in our final week of our class, so be sure and check all your assignments. Make sure you have everything turned in from weeks 1, 2, and 3. Let me skip over to our announcements page really quick. Be sure to have everything submitted this week on Sunday by midnight. If you have a chance today or tomorrow, try to post your discussion board posting plus your 2 replies if you can, so that you have that out of the way and you don't have to think about it on the weekend or Sunday night right before midnight. You think you have everything done? Awesome. Oh, and happy Thanksgiving to you guys too. I didn't see that, Lena. I just saw your message. That's right. Sarah has worked ahead through this whole class. In fact, I've had assignments turned in. I've had assignments turned in by Sarah that were like 20 days early, which is amazing. So just know that any of you, you're welcome to work ahead on assignments. I have another student who was basically finished with the course by week 2 in another class, so she got almost everything finished. So you're always welcome to work a little bit ahead of time. There's Maria. Yay! She made it, and I got to see Maria today. And I got to see the baby bump too. She's got the cutest baby bump. So baby girl will be here soon. So anyway, work ahead if you can, get things out of the way so that you have some time to relax. Remember, in this class, we don't have a final project this time. We do have a regular final exam. That's okay, Maria. And let me write you down too, get your points. That way you don't have to write extra summary. So we do have a final exam. It is open book, open note. You're welcome to use both. Also, you are allowed 2 attempts on the final exam. So on the quizzes, I normally give you unlimited attempts, but on the final exam, you get 2 attempts. So if you don't do well the first time, you can always go back and redo. It is timed. I want to say it has a 2-hour time limit. So be sure and choose a time when you can sit down and really focus to get that exam done and out of the way. I already said post the discussion boards right away, and gobble, gobble, gobble pumpkin pie. You guys all know that's what I'm waiting for, pumpkin pie. That's my favorite. And my grandpa Smith always used to say, pumpkin pie with calf slobbers. That's what he called Cool Whip. So we would all have to say pumpkin pie with calf slobbers, and it would make my grandma so mad, but we loved it. It's one of those family traditions. Okay, I want to back up just a minute before we get completely into our content. I wanted to share with you guys today that I went to Cap Tulsa, the Skelly Center today. So the one that's right by Skelly School. Oh, I love pumpkin pie too, Lita. Yes, that also. Pecan, yes. So I toured the Skelly facility of Cap Tulsa with 2 of their human resources people. It was really great. They have classrooms that are set up very similar to Educare. They're considered more of a suite classroom, and then it has 2 classroom suites that's connected in the middle by a small cleanup and kitchen and sink area. Plus there's a bathroom area between the 2. And I really love when they set centers up like that, so that the bathroom's there, it's easy for the kids to get to. You don't have to go down the hallway. Also, these two classes that are joined together, but they can be separate for separate activities. And whenever I went there, it happened to be nap time. So I saw a lot of napping kiddos, but I was able to see how they have things set up. They also have a small covered patio at the back of each classroom. They have a fantastic playground that has great age-appropriate things for them to climb on and play on. They had a mixture of grass and astroturf on the outside, and they just finished adding bike tracks. So they have these great cement bike tracks where the kids can have their races or just play outside. So it was overall fantastic. They have a great parent resource room where parents can go in and use computers or meet with teachers in that area. They also have a small lending library and numerous resources in the building itself. So if you guys are ever interested in going through CAP Tulsa or EduCare, we might set up a little field trip to do so. So far I've been to Disney CAP, Kelly CAP, and been the EduCare that's over by University of Tulsa. So fantastic, really great. And I love seeing how things are going, how they do things. We're looking at changing some of the curriculum so that it matches even better with what the employers are looking for in an early childhood education teacher, because we want you guys to be ready for them, prepared and ready to go. So a little bit over tonight, we're going to go over when and where to seek help, because as the center director, as a teacher, as a resource person, something that you might be doing is working with different children with disabilities. So what I wanted to start off with, so that we could just kind of brainstorm some of the disabilities that we deal with in preschool. Let me get my little writer up here. And I want you guys to give me some ideas. What are some of the disabilities that we might encounter as early childhood educators? And I'll type them up there. Some of you guys have children with disabilities. You might have other children in your family. You might have friends, right? Each may be an issue that they need to work with, and early intervention is so important. ADHD, ADD, yeah. Sensory issues, definitely. Hearing, yeah. And sometimes we don't realize that even their sight or being blind exactly, but he does. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Sorry. I don't think you will let me fix it. I didn't need to type link. Let me see. Blind, there we go. Learning delays. Yeah. Dyslexia. I have a good friend. Oh gosh, I don't know if I'm spelling that right though. Dyslexia. I have a good friend whose husband is dyslexic, and their son is also, it can be dyslexic, it can be hereditary. Oh, autism, yes, and we're seeing that grow even more and more each year. Stephanie, thank you. What else? Can you guys think of some other disabilities that we might have in the classroom? Handicaps, right? Such as maybe missing arms, legs, arms or legs that do not work as they should, reading, yep, lots of reading issues. So, gosh, that's a huge list right there. Bipolar. like autism and dyslexia and ADHD even too. You know, these are more brain-based disorders, things that we can't see just by looking at them. Anxiety is a good example too as well, sure. I cannot spell tonight. It's too late in the evening. Writing issues, yes. We might say anger issues or anger control issues. Yep. Okay. So gosh, that's a great list to begin with. The last number that I saw on autism was about 1 in every 75 children now. More prevalent in men and in boys, and we're recognizing that even more and more. OCD, that's right. Various motor skills, could be fine motor skills, could be gross motor skills, that's right, Lita. Oh, you have OCD? Well, Sarah, how does that work with your cleaning? That may be kind of a good thing, right? Yeah, I was going to say those could kind of go together, you know. Our disabilities can become abilities, right? Well, good, to kind of take the edge off a little bit. Oh, exactly. That you were anxious because of it. Wow. And actually, you know, guys, I had, if I don't have it, I clean. And if stuff isn't clean, I do it all the time and have it. Oh, gotcha. So it's like a cycle. And social anxiety, yeah. Exactly. They sort of go together, yeah. So the medications help take the edge off, though. Do they do good? Right, yes. Yeah, anxiety attacks are horrible. I completely agree. Exactly. And guys, I tried to look up a list, you know, types of disabilities, and I really couldn't find a specific list. And that's why I thought, well, we'll just talk about them, and I'm sure we'll come up with a fantastic list all on our own. Dyslexia came up, and I don't know if you guys have seen recently, they developed a font specifically for dyslexia, and the person that designed it so that it would be easier to differentiate between the letters, and I thought that was really amazing. I would like to know whether or not it's efficient, you know, if it works well. Oh, your husband says, oh, and I got to meet him today too, Stephanie. So he's okay with smaller groups, though, just bigger groups. Okay. And Sarah, was that on dyslexia, Sarah? To change school districts? Yes, exactly. You know, some school districts are better set up for certain disabilities than others. So sometimes it's a great idea for a parent, if they can, to switch into that school district that has experience with it. My friend's current school district has no experience with dyslexia at all, and they really don't know where to begin. So it's sort of hard on him. He's in 4th grade and was just diagnosed. So it's going to be a hard issue. Being in it, right? That could be, yeah, claustrophobia. There you go, Stephanie. I was going to say, I was trying to think of that term. You guys were good. Being with a lot of people and being crowded in, claustrophobia, yeah. Do you feel like you're kind of that way too? Oh, that has sensory problems too, Sarah. Yeah, and you know, that's very common. Specifically with autism, disorders too. Various spectrums of autistic disorders have sensory issues as well. So, you guys, that's a fantastic list. And I hope that sort of gives you an idea, though, that actually, you know, you can have any number of these in your classroom at the same time that you have to learn to sort of work with or identify, or perhaps you need to get a little extra help with those as well. Oh, I just read about the bathroom stalls, that those can be claustrophobic. I can understand that too. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to talk about a little bit about children at risk because it's so important. Some of the things that we have going on right now over the last probably 20 years is that we just generally have this greater awareness of some of the developmental problems that are out there and the major impact that they can have on the children and on how they learn, on how they take in information. So since the public has become more aware and the schools have become more aware, we can now address these at a younger and younger age. Is very important because early intervention is the key on so many of these. And if we can begin, we can recognize something at the age of 2, fantastic. I wish my friend's son would have been identified way before 4th grade because he has struggled with reading. He's a very bright child. He can fix so many different things. He's gifted in other ways, definitely. But reading really hinders him. So this is a great example of not being identified at a young age. Some of the things that have been established to sort of help children at risk are, if we go back to 1965, when Head Start was initially established. That seems crazy that it's been around that long, since 1965. We also, in 1967, came up with early and periodic screening, diagnosis and treatment program to help children that are at risk and their families try to catch some of these. Supplemental nutrition program, WIC, was developed in 1972. And actually, I read a statistic earlier today. I didn't have time to double check the research on it. Excuse me. But it said that about 1 in every 2 infants received these through the WIC program. So 1 in every 2, that's a pretty high percentage, and really helps out with that early care. So with the food vouchers, the nutrition education, the medical supervision, again, early intervention. 1975 mandated early intervention, identification services for children 3 to 5 years, and that's a big chunk of our age group right there. And then Individuals with Disabilities Education Act in 1990, which was so important. Also, we've had PL 9947, Handicap Act amendments in 1986 to extend services to children birth to 3 and their families. Kind of an issue before that is that this age group, birth to 3, really wasn't served. So children very young with disabilities were sort of being forgotten about, and they weren't getting this extra help that they need. Then in 1990, the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, guaranteed children the right of full and post-inclusion in the classroom and help protect them against discrimination. So since then, school districts they can do a lot better job at including kids with handicaps and disabilities in all of the activities possible. So there's lots of supportive legislation out there. Now here's kind of a controversial one, and you guys can chime in if you like. No Child Left Behind was in 2002, and it was initially designed to improve educational opportunities academic success rates in children, with a pretty heavy focus on reading and retention, to hold schools more accountable, and to give parents more choices. So do you have any thoughts on No Child Left Behind? Have you seen it have a positive or negative impact in your school district? Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And you're right, it has helped in a way. And they actually, they wanted all children basically reading at grade level. 100% of children reading at grade level is one of the things. Right. And how do you guys, what I've run into is that if we consider children with disabilities, maybe special needs, maybe special education, I don't know if we can truly say that everyone can read at grade level. That's where they wanted to get them to. And the unfortunate thing is that some schools are being penalized because they can't reach that. So they're looking at changing No Child Left Behind just a little bit so that schools continue to receive this feedback, but are not penalized due to this. So No Child Left Behind was one of the last kind of major legislative things that we saw passed. Okay, some of the challenges that come along. Delays we sometimes don't even recognize early on. Maybe it's just in one domain, and here's an example. Oh, your son's on IEP, great, Lita. Hey, I'm a big fan. They help really break down the plan for the parents and for the school. Good focused help. That's great. An example, maybe a delay we wouldn't see early on would be maybe a child has problems in math. With adding, subtraction, really has an issue with numbers in general. So this is a delay that we really wouldn't see, say, when they're 2 or 3, or maybe issues with reading disabilities. We wouldn't see that at the age of 1 or 2. But they develop over time. So we can have a wide range of disabilities. Family beliefs and practices sometimes have an influence on the children's development. So that might pose a challenge. Children might learn to compensate for their deficiencies. Actually, they pick things up pretty early on, how to work around and hide these disabilities. So they can kind of keep them away from the parents as well as the teachers. Pretty good. Some developmental problems can come and go. So I sort of like that on that first point when we were talking about the various disabilities, that you guys included bipolar on that. Because to me that's an example of something that may come and go depending on the waves of emotions, the cycle that the child is going through, and different people cycle at different rates. So that would be very hard to pinpoint in a young child what's going on. So, good example. Families might also delay seeking help because it's our child, right? And Lita, he has 5 delays. So, Lita, did you notice early on if there were any problems, or did a teacher point them out to you? When did you discover that your son might be having some delays? Yeah, 5. That would definitely be noticeable. So with parents, we might be unsure of what's going on. We don't know. We're sort of, oh, it's my child. They're going to be in protective mode. They might, an example of something that we might think a child would grow out of might be a H impediment. Maybe they're having issues with S's, which is pretty common, and many children do grow out of that. They may be uncertain of where to go for help. However, if they're in some kind of a Head Start program, there's fabulous resources there. They might be a little confused about the information that they did receive, difficult to know what's best for the child and sort of where to begin. So at about 2, they notice this. Gotcha. And that, that's a great age for intervention right there. I'm glad that you were able to catch that early on. Yay. That's great. So identifying developmental problems begins with a direct and systematic observation. So it starts with the teachers. Maybe they're in a new program and a teacher goes, hey, something might be going on here. I've noticed this, this, and this. So it starts with a teacher maybe documenting things, or a health provider such as a doctor or a nurse might also notice some delays and make note of it. They then go to testing if they think that is necessary to find out if there really is an issue there. That would help a lot. Doesn't it? It includes input from the child's family. So in the school system or in the Head Start, they're not going to just focus only on the teachers themselves. They're going to include the parents in that group. And then we use the information that we've gained to try to make an individual education program an IEP, basically. So we want to do this as a team, as I just mentioned, the parents and the teachers together. School needs to be very careful to involve the parents actively. What you'll see is once a child is on a plan, that communication will increase. They are required to do that, and most of the special education teachers that I have met are really good at staying in touch with the family and really trying to involve them and keep them up to date on what's going on. So they focus on what's best for the child, take advantage of multidisciplinary expertise. You might have experts, therapists coming in from different schools. There's lots of traveling speech therapists in our area, or physical education specialists. What else are there? We have a little boy in Afton who's blind. So he has a teacher that comes in once a week to sort of help him with learning Braille, because of course there was nobody in our school system that knew how to teach or read with Braille. So it's great that we can draw on all these resources that sometimes it's really hard to do just as a parent. So I have actually known parents that were homeschooling. Oh, home therapy resources, exactly. I've actually known parents before that were homeschooling that once they decided once they found out that there may be some delays here or issues, that they went ahead and put their child in public school because of all the resources that were available. And that's wonderful. So we can also help reduce bias on, it's my kid or it's my student. You get that parent and teacher input. I like this one, improve creative problem solving. If a parent and a teacher comes together, a teacher can come up with lots of ideas and a parent can too, but when they come together and they bounce them off each other, one person can sometimes think of something the other would not have. So love that you can creatively help solve problems for your child. And that it is, on the team approach, it's ongoing. We're constantly making changes as needed. Yeah. And one thing that they do need to change pretty frequently, medication, through the doctors and through the school system. We'll see that children will be bigger, they maybe don't need as much or they need a little bit more. Also, seasons can get are based on the child's evaluation findings. So we've gone through the experts, we've done the test, we're talking to the family, we're talking to the teachers as well, we're bringing it together as a team. We consider the family's needs, what they can actually do, identify the appropriate educational programs and services that are available for that school. And like I said, sometimes it's necessary to move to a different school so that you can get more appropriate help, better programs, or better services. Maybe they have specialties. And include an ongoing review of the child's placement and progress. So once this child's identified, they will be tracked through each year. Oh, and that's right, I forgot, Lita, they changed your son's medication. Is it better now? Could you tell a difference once they changed it a little bit? Yes, good, good. You know, sometimes it's just the smallest changes needed, but they're very good at tracking that. And so the school may have noticed it, or you may have noticed it and said, hey, it's time. Strength-wise in differences and not in similarities. I love this quote by Stephen Covey that points out that we are not all the same. In fact, if we were all the same, life would be pretty boring. So our differences is what makes us unique and what makes us the person that we are, right? And I've had people say before, you know, if you could go back in time, would you change this or that about growing up or in your 20s or in your 30s? And I always say, no, I wouldn't change a thing, because if I changed anything, I wouldn't be the person I am today. So celebrate those differences and realize that we're not all the same, and that's great. We love that. And then, let me see, it's 9:08. I told you it would be about 30 minutes. So lastly, do we have any questions, guys? We have our final week. We've got our discussion boards, our 2 assignments, our final exam. If you find the time, try to get as much in before the holidays. And then here's Stephanie. Hey, it was great meeting you today, too, by the way. I mean, I like seeing you guys online, but, you know, to get to hug you in person, that's fantastic. And you too, Maria. It was nice meeting you today. So, you guys, if you have any questions, I will be available over the holidays. You know, on Thanksgiving, it might be a little bit harder to get a hold of me, but Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, if you have a question, don't be afraid to email or call or Facebook, of course, and I'd be happy to help you out. Sometimes we have issues with tests. You know, there's lots of things that can happen. They can lock up, the internet can go down. So if something happens, please let me know. I can reset if needed, okay? So you guys have a great final week and have a great Thanksgiving, okay? You can go to bed now, Lita. You can. And Sarah can too, and anybody else.